call the meeting to order. So, Joanne, do you have a roll call?
I've got roll call, thank you.
Right, fantastic. We have Sheila here for public invited to be heard. Would you like to make any comments? Or
no comments, except I'm sorry to be losing such a fine director of this.
Thank you.
Just when I...
Yes, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
I'm excited and sad to be leaving. It's a terrible time.
It's a wonderful venue.
It is. It is that. We've got someone else doing this.
Okay. Did everyone have an opportunity to take a look at the minutes that Joanne sent out? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Katie, is there a second? Thank you. All in favor? That is unanimous.
Sorry, I didn't catch the second. But thank you, John and Kelly.
All right. Perfect. We'll turn it over to Eric for the February accessions.
All right. Sorry, I was not organized enough to get it up on the screen today, but we only have 2 accessions. So if you have your printout, or I can just fold it up. The first one is a political postcard, which has no third term, win with Wilkie. So this is from the 1940 presidential election. We don't have a lot on that particular election. So even though this doesn't have a direct Longmont link, it seemed like something we would fill out our mid-20th century political memorabilia. I will note I didn't leave a bit of description talking about a video that's from a previous session, so I'm going to ignore that. But it's basically connected as a representative of the 1940 presidential election. The next item is this, it's a cyanotype, which is a blue, it's the process used to make blueprints. The actual fabric is about yay by yay, and it was used to print photographs as well. So this is on fabric. There are photographs of historic Longmont buildings. It is a found-in collection accession. It has been in the museum's possession for at least 20 years, but we weren't able to track down any documentation prior to that. So it will be noted that this is found in collection. And if someday someone comes in with a loan paper that says, I loaned that to the museum in 1972, then we would need to do something in return. But we think it's pretty unlikely. So this is kind of a cool piece because it does have some photographs that we didn't have previously in the accession collection. It's kind of a cool fabric photo document. Any questions on either of those accessions?
Are there any clues as to how old the second one is? The cyano?
Based on the photographs, what buildings are shown, it's between 1906 and 1921. The photo of City Hall is a City Hall that was torn down in 1921, and there's a photo of Columbine Elementary, which was built in 1906. So between those 2 times, probably toward the earlier part of, yes, 1910 or so. I would think.
So was it found in the process of cataloging everything that you guys have been doing, like all of the cataloging you've been doing?
It's actually been sitting on a shelf in the archives for most of that time. And it was, we had very few accessions in January, and I was like, I wonder if we've got anything in like the founding collection. And I went over and, oh yeah, there's this cool cyanotype fabric I keep meaning to, dig into, and so verified that, yeah, we didn't have really any other documentation on it. And so we added it to the accession list.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to approve the accession?
I move that we approve the two accessions proposed.
Anyone like a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? That is unanimous. Fantastic. All right. We can move on to reports. So I will turn it over to Kim for the report of the museum director for the last time.
Well, first of all, I want to say it's been a real pleasure working with all of you. I know that this year, so very, very much. You are wonderful. And maybe the case that tomorrow we'll learn more about what's happening with the surveys that have went out for what is potentially a tax that will be put on the ballot in November. There will be a report to City Council about what the results of the surveys have been, and then City Council will give recommendations about what to do, what will be included, if anything's going to be put on the ballot, and more importantly for you all, kind of what your role will be in all of it. Because I know that a lot of the advisory boards have been asking questions about, you know, what can they say, who can they talk to, what is the messaging around it, so on and so forth. So we will get more guidance tomorrow at that City Council meeting, and Eric and I will be in a conversation about what it'll mean for all of you, because certainly if we are put on the ballot, you all may get questions, and you may want to talk to friends and voters and so on and so forth. So we'll be sure that you've got some talking points, I think, sort of on the heels of that. And that, one other thing that doesn't appear on here is that we will be, for the capital campaign for the museum expansion, we're working with an organization called Prismatic Consulting. Oh, we've got another attendee. Hi, Susie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
We were just talking about what to expect at tomorrow's council meeting
Okay.
with the results of the survey.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The other thing I was just starting to say is that the Friends of the Longmont Museum has paid for a consultant to help us with the capital campaign, and so that is going to be launching probably in May. And the consultant that we're working with is really helping pull together talking points and sort of messaging around the capital campaign. And that'll move forward regardless of what happens with the ballot initiative. The idea is that we would eventually, assuming that the ballot measure goes forward, we would extract the capital expenses from that for the museum expansion, and that the only thing that would go on the ballot would be operating expenses required for the museum. And so that's, $20 million that we would be pulling off of the price tag of all of that. So our consultant has been really, really optimistic about the potential for being able to raise the money for it. And part of the reason is that we've got so many things to be excited about. We've got the children's room, we've got the expanded outdoor areas, we've got the rooftop space, we've got the cafe, we've got an expanded gift shop, but like all of these things that a lot of different people will be attracted to, and given that they're just like, this is a fundraiser's dream, to be able to have all of these different things to sell, basically. So they're really, really optimistic about being able to have a successful capital campaign. And so we'll make sure that you guys get those talking points and are able to sort of share with your friends and networks. Sort of all the things that we've got to offer. So with that in mind, yeah.
Do they remain optimistic about the economy?
Yeah, absolutely. What we've got going, and part of the thing that I've shared in the report is that we've already got, so out of that $20 million, don't trust my math here, but out of that $20 million, we've already raised 5, definitely. We've got a grant out for another 1. And then at the last city council meeting, there were 2 things here. I was on vacation, so don't trust me here. But whenever that happened, the city council also awarded the museum some oil and gas proceeds. And so that, we don't know the exact number yet, but that's estimated between $800,000 and $1.2 million. And so we've already got a good chunk of money raised for that already. And I think with that momentum, plus all of these other sort of, positive things that we can work off of, we've really got a great chance of raising the money for it. And we've got it lined up in a way that works really well too, because we'll be building in phases. And so the first phase basically is already funded. The second phase is pretty darn close. And then, we can kind of take our time with phase 3. And so given time, the exciting things we can sell, and the momentum that we've got going, I think we've got a really, really strong path forward. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to share this all with you. This is the latest hot off the presses design that I am super, super excited about. I feel like our architect has listened to us really carefully, and she has created spaces and adjacencies and various ways that we can do things like that. It's tiny, so I'm sorry for the tiny print on it. For instance, from the entrance of the museum, all the things that are available for free access are all right up there at the front of the entrance. So for instance, the local art and community gallery, that'll be available for free as people enter, and the cafe will be available free for people to enter. And then as you get deeper into the museum, those are paid areas, so we'll be able to kind of control the access from the front desk perspective. You see we've got the cafe, we've got an expanded gift shop, we've got the new children's gallery, we'll have a new front range rising gallery, and then new spaces for an artist studio, for an artist in residence program, a much more expansive rotating flex gallery space. If you can see the collections gallery there, that will basically be able to have sort of history exhibitions that really focus on our collections and be able to bring out collections that as you all know, we've got a lot of stuff in collections that we don't get a lot of opportunity to bring out. So that'll give us another opportunity to show the collections that you guys are approve all the time. And so being able to see some of those things actually come out for people to enjoy will be really amazing. And then on the other side, you see, and this is just a first pass at what the elevations will look like from the outside. But I think even seeing it in this rendering, it excites me to see how she can create those really interesting angles and the windows and the different materiality and all of that. I get super excited about seeing it in this rendering. So this is, again, it's just the first pass, and that's why Eric and I were late, is that we were meeting with some contractors to look at the very first thing that we're going to do, which is the new textile storage, that we're renovating that space to become the clean area for exhibitions construction. So the graphics and the labels and all of that are going to be moved up to that space, and then there'll be office spaces for Jared and his team, and Art Public Places are going to go in there. So we knew we'll be able to spread out, especially as we bring on new staff, because we need to be able to.
Who is the architect?
It's called the Senza Architects, and the principal architect that we're working with is Krista Plaza.
Are they out of both?
They are out of Louisville, yeah. And they're an on-call architect, so they've got the wide award. And I have to say, they've been really, really great to work with. I confess I was a little nervous because their specialty is like recreation centers. But I just feel like she's listened to us really, really intently, and I think this design is fantastic. And she is bringing on an architect whose specialty is museums, who will act as just a peer reviewer. So won't be doing sort of the nitty-gritty work, that will be able to have a consultant that knows museums and the needs of museums. So even that aspect is, I think, really crushing it from her perspective. She didn't have to do that, but just through the grapevine, she was like, there's this local expert, and we should put her on board. So that's it.
I have one more question.
Yeah, go for it.
Assuming this gets built and looks like it will, how do you, two of you see the vision staffing levels?
We'll definitely need to increase staff, and I think that ultimately it's just going to be creative thinking and requesting through the city budgeting process. I did some math recently, and I think during my tenure, we've been able to add something like 6 FTE, and that's been essentially outside of the city budgeting process. So it's possible, and I think that it requires just creativity, to be honest with you. And so while it feels like it's really challenging to get staff, I think that with some thought it can happen.
They could phase in the position every year or two.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that we'll be able to also kind of scale our work accordingly. Because I think that we can, even with new spaces, we can be essentially status quo for a while, and then be able to, as we can have staff, then we can expand what we can do. So I think that this will just give us an ability to be able to do what we do better, and then as we add staff, it can get even better than that. Yeah. So I think there's some staff growth that we really want to be able to accomplish, but even without that, we need to still do some darn good work. Good question. Something
Well, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I was on the museum board when it started out, that little garage across the library, converted garage. So this is really great to see.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's ultimately what it boils down to, is that we've got a lot of demand, and we can't do it right now, and part of it is staff, as you point out, and part of it is just the building confines, so this will give us an opportunity to do what we can to really do that. We've got a wait list all over the place, so, clearly people like what we're doing. And it makes me really sad to leave right now, there's exciting things on the horizon, so yeah. So I wanted to kind of point those out. Those were things that happened sort of after we were able to put the report together. So I'll jump back into the report. I did mention the textile storage, and we've submitted the permitting for that. So that's getting underway. As I mentioned, we just met with contractors who will submit bids for that. They are also on the citywide awards, and so hopefully that will happen quickly as a result of that. As I mentioned, the survey for the Library Recreation and Culture Fund is going to be presented to City Council tomorrow. And so we'll see how that goes in terms of their recommendations. And then at the last meeting that I attended, I'll just put it that way, City Council voted to award the money from the sale of the Broncos to the Children, Youth, and Family. And so they'll make decisions about how that money gets distributed, but then also awarded the oil and gas proceeds to the museum. So I'll work, hopefully I'll be able to figure this out before I leave, to work with finance to figure out exactly how much money that is and make sure that it gets appropriated to the CIP for the expansion project. The rest of this I'm reading for the first time, so let's just wing it. In exhibits, the agriculture exhibition is really moving forward. This is going to open soon. So Jared's been working to do the interpretation of the exhibit through the artists and farmer interviews. So that's been a fun project for them that they interviewed the folks that are involved in the project to be able to pull together the interpretation. Amanda thank you. She was in town from Toronto, and so her installation is going to go at the Agricultural Heritage Center. So you see a picture of that on the right-hand side. That's the space that it's going to go into. And the left-hand side is an example of her work. So basically, that work is going to go into that barn. And so they went to the barn to see how they might be able to pull that off. I think it's going to be really impressive. Sarah Sense was also in town. She's from Sacramento, and she is an artist who works with photos that are essentially woven together. So she'll take 2 photos, or maybe more, and basically weave those together. And so she was here to be able to figure out exactly what kind of photos she wanted to use in the work that she'll be doing. She's an Indigenous artist, so it's great to be able to include her in the project altogether. And then Patrick Merrill, who's a local artist, but really nationally known, he's going to be part of the project, and he was here gathering corn stalks that he's going to be using in the production of a 25-foot by 10-foot woven curtain that will be used in the exhibition. He is, if you go to the airport, you may see his work. He created they're enormous logs that are kind of in this V pattern that you see as you approach the airport, and especially if you come in on the train, you pass right by them. They're really quite cool, and that was a project that took him years and years and years to do. So if you want to see existing work, you can see it there. We've also got 6 hands-on activities that are going to be included in the exhibition, and so really trying to make the exhibit that's going to be here in our galleries really active and sort of kid-friendly, because typically we have a kids exhibit during that time frame, so we wanted to make sure that we sort of appeal to that audience during that time. Also in the process of hiring a museum assistant, and really this is part of sort of new museum professionals that we're trying to develop. So this is the first round of museum assistants that we'll be hiring, that sort of stems from our intern program. So it's really geared towards new professionals. You may have seen as you walk in the building that we've got a new Art and Public Places piece that's hanging out in the atrium. It's called Angel's Wings. And so that is, as you see, a great photo. It's really exciting to have that wall. Has been sort of a challenge for us to deal with on a regular basis, and so what we decided a year or so ago is that we were going to just dedicate that for Art and Public Places loan program, and so that will change essentially on an annual rotation. And so the museum curatorial staff won't necessarily have to program that space, but instead are in public places and deal with that.
Is there a certain percentage of the art on the move that's outdoor and indoor? You know, I think for a long time, it never occurred to me that there was indoor art on the move, because I was so used to art in public places being outside, and I knew that.
Yeah, Angela's done a really good job of sort of reconsidering this, because the limitation is that in order for it to be art in public places, it has to be accessible for free to the public, and there are not a lot of indoor spaces that meet that criteria. And so we have certain areas of the museum that are available free of charge, and those are the spaces that are available for art in public places. There are a couple of other places that she's programming in the Civic Center and in the, what is it called? The Safety and Justice. And so those are the ones that she's now got on her slate that she's programming this for indoor spaces.
I just, you know, wondered.
It really is Angela making a point of doing it. So it's kind of, it's new. Yeah. And this will be part of the rotation. Yeah. So 2D work that, I mean, it's also challenging because it's 2D work that gets loads of light. And that aspect of getting loads of light is problematic in terms of conservation of art. And so it was definitely part of the conversation when choosing this piece, that it had to be, everybody has to be fully aware of the light that it gets, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I actually love that piece. I think it's very cool. We've got, in terms of the auditorium programming and events and rentals, we're back in business. In February, we had 24 events over 28 days, so that's a lot of stuff going on. March is only slightly less busy with a grand total of 23 museum programs, sponsored events, rentals, and city meetings. The February highlights include the Drug Deal Tour de Force one-man show it's called the Punk Pan-Indian Romantic Comedy. We had solo dance performances by L.A. Samuelson and a new work created especially for Longmont Museum. Sold out Friday afternoon concerts featuring Denver jazz legend Pernell Steen and 5 ambassadors. On the Rise was an installation by the Songwriter Showcase. This has become an annual event. I hope it stays one, with Bonnie Taylor basically curating and hosting that show. March marks the return of the Boulder International Film Festival and the Longmont Motion Picture Orchestra. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of those, but they're really cool if you haven't had a chance. Basically, it's a film that is accompanied by live musicians, and they're usually really cool. And then we had Native American poets on March 15th and the Sacred Art of the Powwow on March 30th. And so really just a great lineup that has accompanied the Great Deal exhibition. And then by numbers, we had 24 events, 2 community partners, over 1,200 people, revenue at $13,000 and rental revenue at $13,000 and ticket revenue at $39,000. You can see the percentages there, so we're doing pretty good year to date. We've got school tours. We've got 3 lined up for the spring season. This is something I think, and maybe Susie can respond to this, that sort of been slow in coming, getting people coming back for school tours, but I think that we'll be seeing a rise in that as well. Docents have been sort of few and far between. It's been a challenge basically to be able to recruit for docents, knowing that the school tours have been a little slow in coming back, so Anne's really trying to get a handle on the docents and being able to train docents and making sure that we honor their time appropriately. In summer camps, we've got 73 full scholarships that have been awarded so far. 320 campers enrolled so far. We've got some that are full already, which is kind of expected. I don't know if any of you deal with this, but basically for my kid, as soon as the camp's open, the camp's sell. So, you know, you have to be online, ASAP in order to get those. We've got great team volunteers lined up for those summer camps. I feel like this is, oh, I didn't even know this. See, it's the first time I've read this. Sam Van Dyken, who's one of the artists for the agriculture exhibition, he is signed up to do a Colorado in the 1800s camp, teaching a cyanotic process. I didn't know that. That's super cool. Sam's been really active because he is also working with CU on this tree project that they have going on. So he has shown up in Colorado periodically, and we've been able to piggyback on that. So that's exciting to see that he's going to be able to do that for us. I Can Dance is, the Longmont Museum is hosting the first program July 17th to the 21st. So this is a special camp that pairs experienced instructors with children with disabilities to teach them dance. 2 volunteers are assigned to each dancer to serve as spotters, providing customized physical support, motivation, and encouragement throughout the week. Children can learn a choreographed routine and perform on stage on the last day. So that's going to be a really exciting sort of accessibility program that we've got going. And of course, scholarships are available. This is planning. The planning has begun for that, and so we're meeting with Randy again, who's helped coordinate the program for the last couple of years and really been able to help expand what we can do, because Anne has been doing it alone for many years, so being able to cover himself is great. And then engaging again the committee that works on that. Fall planning also is underway, and we're looking to be able to work on the agriculture fall programming, since the exhibit's going to be lasting through that time. And some of the things that we're going to be doing is composting, vermin composting workshops and plant or painting, and food fermentation. So all of those things are going to be cool adds to the exhibition. In terms of collection and what Eric's got going on, you all know that we've got a new collections management program, and so really transferring all of that data and making sure that the new officio elements has been a massive undertaking, and so it's much more powerful, but also I think it's going to be interesting in terms of onboarding, because it's not as simple as passport, and so being able to make sure that the volunteers have a good training on it will be essential, and there's a lot of sort of enhanced archival cataloging that are part of that. Volunteers are learning the new software and making sure that we've got all of the cataloging that you guys are able to do for us, and getting those new accessions into the system is great. So you see all the things that we've got lined up for the new accessions. Eric and Eileen also led tours for the Museum Collection Center, and so we have 18 members from the King Club that attend that tour. And so basically, what we wanted to be able to do is to have, you guys and the kind of VIPs have a look at the space, and then open it up for additional public programs. And I think that we'll then now continue those tours of the center. I think that people are excited to see the sort of behind the scenes stuff, and so it's cool to have those available for us. AIPP Commission selected 2 art on indoor displays, back to your question, Dale, to be presented in the atrium and in the Safety and Justice. Kite Neighborhood Improvement Project has received a Neighborhood Grant Leaders Project of Excellence Award, which is really cool. And now they're oh, we'll see you. Thanks, Eric. Featured in the NGLA newsletter. Councilmember Sean McCoy has joined the AIPP Council as Council Liaison. The spoke mural, the second phase of the breezeway of the Longmont Housing Authority has begun and will be completed this month. Let's see. I think it's already completed, which is the reason I'm like, huh, what? So the picture there that you see, he's already completed that. And that is going to be what I haven't seen, and we'll have to share it with you when it becomes live, is that this mural is, you can scan a QR code, and on your phone, it's activated. And I don't know what it's going to do, but something will move. And so this is one of only 2 in the state. And so this is going to be really exciting that you'll be able to use your phone and see something happen. So that's going to be cool. The mural, I think, is already done. So it's just a matter of adding the digital aspects to it that are really cool. Moving on to visitor services, the store has seen increasing sales, and so $2,300 for the month of February. Grandparents are one of the best museum store customers, and so being able to gear up for some of those kid-friendly things. I mean, grandparents are here with their grandkids. We had 74 new or renewed members in February. And then you can see the attendance. January 22, a little over 1,000. And then January 23, you see a bump at almost over 1,200. And then 22 February, we had 1,800, a little bit less in February 23. And then visitor services manager, Elizabeth, is hiring a new visitor service staff. We do have one new person that has already started who is, let me think of her title. I'm not going to remember. Do you remember Heather's title? I can't remember either. Heather has been working with us at the front desk, and she's now taken on a new role. And I can't remember the title of it, but it's something like visitor services assistant, and that's a full-time benefited position, and so she starts soon, and we'll have to replace her position at the front desk. So that's a role that has been vacated for a while, so it's really great to be able to have it filled. And Elizabeth has really struggled. I think this is common, that especially for these part-time non-benefited position, there's sort of constant turnover. So poor Elizabeth has been spending a lot of her time interviewing those jobs over and over and over again. So poor Elizabeth, it's kind of a thankless job. The city did bump up those salaries because of that, but we're still having a lot of trouble filling those positions and keeping people in those positions. I already talked to you a little bit about Prismatic Consulting, and so the first step is really that they're going to be pulling together a list of donors for potential interviews and identifying stakeholders who might be interested in being on the steering committee. Megan applied for a $50,000 grant from the Rose Community Foundation to help support the museum's equitable access program. So this is the program that helps with our scholarships for camp and for the Discovery Days. So this would be a big boost to be able to help that program. High Plains Bank has committed $2,500 to sponsor the summer concert series. Billy Ferranti also has committed his support again. Likely similar to last year's $2,500 sponsorship for the summer concert series. So those are two good ones to see. Megan's also talked to Smuckers about donating Uncrustables for the summer camps, and then exploring other partnerships for peanut-free options. They did this for us last year, so we saw kids eating a bunch of Uncrustables at summer camps last year. It was really wonderful. And then we've got, I think we've mentioned this before, new membership software as well, Boomerang. And so that's expected to go live April the 6th. And it's really been, it's been a really great process working with then troubleshooting the data transfer and troubleshooting all of the ways that we use the software. Joanne and Eve Lacey, who has been on this board before and is a long-time volunteer with the museum and really knows the database really well. She's really been helpful in troubleshooting that, and so that's going to be great to move to that new software. The old software, what we had was also Past Perfect. So Past Perfect did double duty for us. So it was the collections management software, and it was also the donor database management. And because Past Perfect is essentially going away, and we had to find replacements for both of those, we chose Bloomerang for the membership and the donor software, and it's got a lot of new functionality. And so it's really good timing in terms of the capital campaign, because Megan will be able to really use that new program to its fullest advantage and be able to track donor relationships and touch points and all of that. So this is really good timing for the new software for that. In terms of marketing, we've got promotion in full swing for Duality, and I don't know if you guys have all been able to see that show, and if you haven't, please come back and spend some time in it, because it's really an amazing exhibition and we're lucky to have it. And so we've got NPR spots and Westward and Times Call and signage throughout town, and so hopefully you've seen some of that. And then we've got our promo video with the Longmont Public Media, and there's a link included there if you want to go check it out. It's really nice. And then we've got a new Instagram account. We've talked about that before, but it does give us an opportunity to be able to really share some of those visual things in a better way than we have been in the past. And then with volunteer and evaluation coordinator, we've got monthly updates for the survey collection that we've been doing. Then we've got a draft volunteer manual underway, and then recruitment for teen volunteers for summer camp. And I think that's it. Any questions? It's a lot.
Can I do it?
Yeah, go
Back to the capital campaign. So it's going public in May.
Yeah.
I think it might be nice for Megan to present to this.
Oh, that's
or
great.
maybe in May or June.
Yeah.
And just talk about the elements of that campaign.
Yep.
And what the steering committee's going to do.
Yep. We can make sure that happens. Any other questions?
What's the process for your replacement?
Great question that I honestly don't know the answer to at this point. I just had a meeting this morning with Jeff Friesner, who's the head of the department, and Joni Marsh, who's the assistant city manager, who's the head of the division. And so we'll talk more about what that's going to look like. What I really want to have happen in front of what we talked about this morning is I want there to be someone in place by the time the capital campaign goes live. And I think that's totally doable.
In May.
Yeah. I'm hoping it'll happen way before that. So that
It sounds like you have somebody in mind pretty fast.
well, I don't think that there's anybody in mind per se, but certainly there are networks of people that we can share it with. But ultimately, it'll be important, I think, to have somebody that is sort of, the champion of the project and really out there as the one person and the lead. And I think it's totally doable. Yeah. I mean, it really is horrible timing for all of this to happen, but also an opportunity that I can not take. Yeah, and I think that Jeff and Joe are committed to making sure it happens too. So I feel like there's a lot of momentum behind it, so I feel good about it. I mean, it's so exciting. I really am like, this is terrible time. This stuff is like, a director's dream. But it'll be the next director's dream too, so, yeah. Any other questions for me? We'll be sure to keep you guys in the loop about what happens tomorrow with the city council meeting and what that'll mean. I think probably it'll kind of jive with the launch of the capital campaign as well, especially when it comes to those talking points and sort of how to be ambassadors for the museum.
Is there a date certain when we would hear about the grant that we
That is supposed to happen in April.
I know it's in April, but I wondered if it was early April or late April
Off the top of my head, Dale, I think it's the 15th that we're supposed to hear. But don't quote
a lot
me
of
on
stuff happens that day up here.
In fact, is the 15th a Saturday? The 15th, because what Megan has been saying is that it's weird that they would have said it was on a Saturday, and she hopes that we hear it before that date. Yeah. So that's the date they announced. But since it's a Saturday, it's likely that it'll either be the Friday before or the Monday after. Okay. Anything else for me? I really am serious and sincere when I say just because I'm leaving doesn't mean I don't care about this place. I really, really do. And I want you all to feel free to connect with me on my personal email if you've got any questions or if I can help in any way or if you just want to talk or whatever. I want you to know that I'm sincere about that. I care about this place a lot, and there's a lot of me that is super, super sad about leaving, especially right now. So please take that seriously. Okay, that's anyone cool?
We'll miss you. We'll miss working with you. And congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your exciting new adventure.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
When is your last day?
The 31st.
There's no going back.
I've signed a lot of paperwork. I don't think there's any going back.
All right, report of the chair is next. I do not have a report. And so we move on to unfinished business. Does anyone have any unfinished business? I cannot recall anything from the January meeting. All right, any new business? Okay. Any board comments? Other than we will miss you? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Nobody wants to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Linda. All right, all in favor? All right, that is unanimous. We are adjourned.